There's kind of like this weird trend I've been noticing about people just, for whatever reason, focusing on their productivity a lot more. And obviously, you should as a human being strive to be more productive in whatever you decide to do, whether it be programming, writing, etc., etc. For some weird reason, a lot of people just choose, hey, let's find something new to learn. Instead of just learning what they have to use now. Like when I started programming, for instance, I didn't just suddenly was good at what I did. First thing I did was install VS Code, which was the biggest mistake any programmer can do. But regardless, I did, and I actually learned how to use it, and I was very productive using it because I just knew how text editors work. And whenever I wanted to search for something, hit it with the Control F and just start searching for text or whatever. And people don't even know how to do that, which is kind of weird. It's even weirder knowing that most people don't even know how to copy and paste, and I only learned this after I went to my computer science class, well, intro to computer science class. After I transferred into a four-year institution, they, for some reason, made me take an intro class, and there was a lot of people who just didn't understand how to copy and paste something. Yeah, it gets even weirder, don't worry. So, like, if you really want to just be more productive, instead of just finding new tools or just new extensions for whatever platform you're using, I recommend just learning what you have now and just growing off that. Because I've been stuck configuring my own my Vim configuration. Yes, I do use Vim because I'm simply that kind of guy. But that doesn't make me better than anyone else. Like, if you use VS Code and you're a senior level engineer, then good on you. You're much better than where I'm at right now. The issue I'm mostly talking about is people just try to be as productive as humanly possible, and they just see like alternatives like Vim, Emacs, or some other like TUI text editor, and it just doesn't make any sense to switch to it when you're already using something that works. Or maybe you just don't want to spend the time learning something because it takes time to learn Vim and Emacs, believe it or not. If you have that time and want to do it recreationally, then by God, just do it whatever you want. But a lot of it comes from setting up your own Vim configuration. When I was, first started with Vim, I literally spent hours, days, months configuring my own Vim config until I just very recently kind of gave up and just stole something off was it Sylvian Franklin? Franklin? Is that his last name? I don't remember. But he's kind of inspiration, kind of an icon. He should really go to therapy. You shouldn't be wasting your time just constantly trying to find the best possible thing and just learn what you have so you can, you know, go from there. Because you don't know what's better for you until you actually try something. And if it's really, really like you feel like it's slow or maybe you're just not putting enough time into it, then obviously you're just going to kind of be bad at it. Like, I'm good at moving around a document because I just know how text editors work. Some people are better than me, of course, but doesn't mean what is it called? I don't know anything. And yeah, I still need to learn more Vim because even with my years of experience programming, not only just generally and in Vim, it, there's a lot I need to learn. And unfortunately, this is how it is. That's just how it's always gonna be. So I would not recommend just constantly flip-flopping between these new and old tools, trying to figure out what works best for you, what doesn't. I recommend just sticking what you have right now and just going from there. If you really feel like you can put time and effort to learning something called my gosh, I'm sorry, I can't speak today. If you really feel like you want to put the time and effort to learn something called Vim or Emacs, then I recommend just doing it. Do it in your free time. If you're gonna do it at all, just try it out. If you don't like it, you don't have to try, and that's the beauty of it. There's extensions for VS Code, I know, that allow for Vim motions and Emacs motions. Why on God's green earth would he ever want to use Emacs motions is beyond me, but you can do that. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to have wrong opinions. That was purely bait. There's going to be some fucking elitist in the comment section talking about it, and that's partly why I mentioned that because it's kind of weird how people just look at their text editor and be like, yes, this is perfect. This is exactly what I want. And everyone else who believes that their text editor is better is wrong. And truth be told, it doesn't really matter. Emacs, in my opinion, is probably the best text editor you can ever use. But the issue is it's great at doing everything else besides being a text editor. Until I installed the Evil mode, I think? Yeah, until I installed Evil mode. Then it actually started working very well, and actually pretty good text editor. Someone's gonna be really mad about that. A weird thing that happened to me recently was one of my friends, he's like in the programming sphere as well, and he's like ride or die for the Cursor IDE, which is, I find very strange. I'm not saying if you use AI, you're immediately stupid, but obviously you should probably limit the amount of time to use AI. At least that's what I try to do. But it's just kind of weird that like people are telling me that this is like the best, and like I've heard the same thing for Vim, Emacs, VS Code, Visual Studio, any JetBrains IDE. It's just really weird, and I trying to figure out what's the point of it, because in some cases VS Code does better in some things, and NeoVim does better in everything VS Code does. I kid, of course, but like, come on, like there are some things that VS Code genuinely does pretty well, and I will never deny that fact. Regardless of that, it's just kind of weird that like we're in this weird cycle again where people just focus on what you're using it rather than what you're doing. Another weird thing recently, people like get very confused between generating code and productivity. These two are not the same. These are completely exclusive to one another. One, you're just, being pretty lazy and just generating code that you're gonna have to debug for about 30 hours, while one, you're actually writing yourself and you have to debug for about 2 hours. I know, in the end, you're still debugging code because we're all shit programmers, aren't we? But beyond that, it's just really strange that people just want to, like, you know, excuse laziness or like literal shortcuts for productivity when the reality is it'll never achieve what we're able to do, or at least anytime soon. I've literally met people in not only in my field, I went to AWS not too long ago, and I had one person tell me that, yeah, AI is probably going to start replacing us in 3 years. It took a lot out of me not to call him a fucking idiot, but whatever. It's okay. He can believe whatever he wants. And I guess like if you're actually looking for like some tips in productivity, is the first thing you want to do is just read the documentation for what you're using right now. I know VS Code's documentation is actually a little more daunting than NeoVim's, which is a little strange to say because when I read it, it was just kind of confusing. But even still, like once you learn it and just all the shortcuts and combinations, it will just save you a lot of time in the long run. And was it with Vim? It's essentially the same thing because once you start learning more commands, what is it called? Key shortcuts. You're gonna get like a lot faster. Like when I started using Vim, I embarrassingly, very embarrassingly, split my terminal window in half so I can run another instance of my terminal window. And then I can have Vim on the other side of it. Not knowing I can just create a new tab and launch whatever Python server I need. I'm going to ignore the fact that now that's exactly what I use Tmux for, but like, shut the fuck up. So the only real tip I can actually just give you is just use what you have now. And if you feel like it's not enough, then just try things slowly. You don't want to just jump into something. You don't want to waste a bunch of time in some like random bullshit. Like I've literally wasted so many hours of my life configuring both Emacs and NeoVim. While I'm back in NeoVim now, I still spent literal hours of my life configuring Emacs just so I can use it and just give it up immediately. I'm not some productivity guru. I just some guy who loves learning. I love programming. But that's partly why I started this channel too, because I just want to like actually learn not only the system I'm using. I'm, by the way, running Linux right now. But I'm also what is it called? I just want to program more in my free time, and probably I'll be streaming right after I upload this video. Realistically, what time is it now? Ooh, maybe not. But beyond that, yeah, get ready to see more videos of me complaining about random shit that I've seen people do. Final words? Your text editor does not matter. Ciao.